What's going on, guys? It's your boy Austin and Matt from the Sidelines here. We're back with Week 16 to talk about the rigged NFL. Just kidding, but maybe, possibly not. Again, another fucking wild week. You guys remember everything we were talking about last week? We're just gonna kind of keep going over the same stuff. Like, I know obviously the wild card spots are drying up for some people, and some people are back in the mix. So, guess we'll just hop right into it with who you think's still gonna make a wild card?
I mean, I still think it's the same teams more or less. The only new team, I guess, that we never really talked about before are the Jaguars, only because the Titans, they're 7-7. They have a fairly difficult schedule remaining. Where the Jaguars, honestly, I think if going into week 17 or week 18, if they're both tied at 8-8, I mean, it comes down to the last game because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they play each other in the final game. So whoever wins that
Yeah,
is
they
going to
do.
the playoffs. Yeah, and I'm hoping just to get a new team in there. It is Jaguars because the Titans for the past, I don't know, 3, 4 years have always come out of there. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, it's still the exact same. It's still the same bubble teams. Things are looking good for Detroit right now, which is good. So
That was the big thing to talk
yeah,
about. Obviously, we had the Minnesota choke, but yeah, the Lions are definitely putting themselves in a great position now because that was a big win for them.
it was, yeah, and they still have their three remaining games. Carolina, was it? It's Carolina, the Packers, oh, and the Bears. Um, do I think they'll win those three games? No, but
2 out of 3, very good
I
chance.
think yeah, 2 out of 3. Yeah, I think I said preseason they'd go 9-8, and they definitely are on track to go 9-8 and sneak a playoff spot. They just need Washington. Is it Washington? I forget. One of the NFC East teams, Washington or New York, to not do as great, and they also need Seattle to lose. So I think it's more so the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I did a on ESPN. They have a playoff predictor thing of like you just pick the games who you think will win in the next few weeks, and then basically says, okay, this is who you think will make the playoffs then. And I think mine had the Lions and the Giants both making it,
Which is
as well
possible
as
because
the
they're
other.
sitting at 8-5 now.
Yep.
But
Um.
I know we also realized that Mr. Or Irrelevant might be actually becoming Mr. Relevant after that win
Yeah.
over the
Brock Purdy.
Seahawks. Because I know we made that
Brock
video
Purdy.
right before that game too.
Yeah, he's definitely good. Um, a
Still only been
small
a couple
sample
weeks, but
size. Yeah, still a small sample size. I mean, we're talking what 3 games over the course of a full 17 game season, but who knows? And is he even going to play this week? I'm just looking. He's questionable. I don't know. I know. I forget. He is banged up a little bit. He'll probably play though. Yeah, he played. He practiced yesterday, so he'll probably play. But yeah, he's looking good so far. And the 49ers are definitely. I mean, they're a top five team in the NFL right now. So they're definitely a scared team going into the playoffs. I think they're definitely a team that could 100% come out of the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. For just talking about strictly skill. But since you mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast in the intro about the NFL being rigged, do you actually think the NFL is rigged?
I would really like to think not, because as much as everybody and we all enjoy it and stuff, it would be really fucking shitty. But after the week that we just saw, it makes you think: are they playing to people's odds and parlays and just crazy stuff that people are betting on and all the money involved in it? I don't know. Possibility for sure, but I'd like to think that at least 99% of the time it's not. It's just crazy coincidence. But we did witness a 33-point comeback, witnessed the Chiefs and Texans go into overtime, and witnessed the Jags beat the fucking Cowboys. So that's a wild
Right.
week.
And I know people will say, well, that doesn't mean it's rigged. That just means they were good football games.
Which is
But
what I would like to hope.
Well, it's just like, okay, well, let's use the comeback that the Vikings had as an example. Matt Ryan, this is now, I think he's had blown the most in terms of, so here's that one. He has the Super Bowl. I believe I saw something the other day. He has the biggest blown lead in an international game. And there was some other one that he had. I don't remember what it was. But he's blown like the biggest leads possible in like every circumstance possible. And but then you also had the Patriots Raiders game. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
the
that
ending
too.
to
I
that.
didn't get to
It
watch the ending
made
until
that play
afterwards.
like that situation made no sense. I don't know what they were doing. So why they lateraled the ball in a tie game, I have no idea. Because why would you do that? That's usually something you do and like you're desperate because you need to score a touchdown and because you're losing the game, not because you're tied. And not only that, Jacoby Myers took the ball, threw it towards Mac Jones, but Chandler Jones, the expatriate defender, just happened to be standing. He just threw it like right to him. And like, what? Even if Mac Jones got the ball, what was he really gonna do with it? He's a quarterback that runs like a 40-yard dash that takes like 10 seconds for him to run it anyway. So, well, I just don't know what was going on there. That's what makes me question it. Like, how legit. And it wasn't even more so because of social media. I had this whole thought formed on my own, specifically last year, because I used to just watch the NFL like, okay, yeah, it's real, that's whatever. But it was the Rams and Buccaneers game last year in the playoffs. I remember watching that game last year and just thinking to myself, this doesn't even seem like I'm watching a real football game. Like it just seems so scripted, it's not even funny. That's what my thought process was while watching that game because everything was going in favor of the Rams. And just out of nowhere, they just started making all these mistakes that were very like major. I remember they were like over snapping the ball, they kept fumbling the ball, like everything. It
Because they
was
were
all
up,
that
what, like
type of stuff.
17, I think, with like 6 minutes left?
I don't remember the score, but I just remember they kept doing all this stuff to like hurt them badly. And then
Ridiculous
it just made the
mistakes.
Buccaneers come back, and then and the Buccaneers just kept scoring off of everything, and I was just like, this. I feel like this isn't real. Like this is like something you would see in like a movie.
Like the comeback.
Yeah,
No, it's definitely weird that stuff like that happens in those situations too. And like we just talked about before we started recording, how the Jags ended up choking that game to the Patriots. It's another
right.
game.
The playoff game from a few years ago,
Yeah.
but back then, like I didn't think much of it. I used to think like even the 28-3 game, I didn't think like, oh, that's rigged. I just thought that was just a normal comeback by the Patriots, and they just happened to get lucky. But and maybe that's literally what it was. It was just lucky in the sense of yeah, it was rigged, but luck was just in their favor that game. But yeah, I mean, do I think they rig all games? Like for example, the Saints in the Browns game this weekend, like would that be a rigged outcome? I don't know. I mean, because there's betting on every single game because of betting and because they know it draws in money, that's a lot to do with it. I'm like 100% sure on that. And again, like before we started this podcast, there's the NFL is not it's considered an entertainment industry. Therefore, they can fix games and it's legal for them to do it.
It's not the Olympics.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. It's interesting
definitely
to look at.
interesting. And you would think an NFL player would come out, like a retired one, would come out and say something, and there has been some NFL players that have said stuff, but people either think they're stupid and they'll probably be like, "Oh, well, he has severe CTE. He's like whatever." But I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot of them don't speak out on it because they're paid. Like I guarantee you, because a lot of contracts they're not as just strict as like, "Oh yeah, we're signing you for 5 years. Here's how much you're getting paid." There's a lot that goes into it besides that. I know, like at least in the NBA, they have like random clauses that'll be like, "Oh, if you win MVP this season, you'll get an extra $100,000 in your contract or something like that. So I wonder if they get paid like yeah, you'll get paid after you retire to just keep your mouth shut about everything because we know you know about it type of thing. I mean, that could happen. You don't know because it's not like contracts are public.
Yeah, I know a lot of people talk about that though. Like Antonio Brown, I know there was incentive for him. Like, hey, you catch 10 passes, average 9 or 10 catches a game, or whatever the stat was, and you get an extra
Yeah, they
hundred
get
grand this year.
right. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah. So I wonder if there's something in there like on every person's contract, do not speak publicly about what like the behind the scenes type of thing. And some people have made videos specifically for the Super Bowl that show I guess his argument is if you see teams coming out of the locker room to enter the game, the team that seems more excited is always the team that wins. The team that comes out of the locker room and they just kind of like run out onto the field
Yeah,
is the team that's going to lose. That's what his argument is. I mean, I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what his argument was. And I'll definitely look for that this Super Bowl to see if that's true. If like there's a team that comes out that looks more excited about playing as opposed to a team that just comes out there that looks like they're just running out there to play the game. But and if that's the case, I'll just see if that team wins. The more excited team.
we love conspiracies.
Yeah, it is. And I wonder why an investigation has never been done on something like this because in baseball it happened. Because baseball there's an investigation on steroids, which is a form of cheating. Um, but I guess it was because it's a third party thing, I guess maybe. But still, I mean, you have pitchers in baseball still cheating, and everyone knows about it. Like it's not a secret anymore. You had the Astros sign stealing a few years ago. You have, like I said, pitchers using foreign substances so their ball rotates differently and breaks differently and makes it harder to hit, which is why batting averages across the MLB are so low right now.
I guess it's kind of like how we had Deflategate not too long ago.
Right. It's just when it's like a third party thing, because if the NFL's rigged, that's not third party. That's just because it's supposed to be that way. But using other things that shouldn't be done is when it gets like, oh, well, they did this to cheat and win the game. Like the Saints, well, they weren't really necessarily doing this to win the game, but they had Bounty Gate years ago where they were trying to injure players on purpose.
Yeah, I do remember that getting
Um,
talked about.
yeah.
But I guess on another note, I would also like to say with the Houston Texans' close loss to the Chiefs, they remain on a losing streak that is now up to 9 because they fucking suck.
Yeah, they definitely are. I don't know. I think they could make the playoffs this year.
They're missing the GOAT
Yeah,
himself.
they're missing Deshaun Watson. If he was there, instead of being 112-1, they would be like probably 14-0 right now.
There's a debate to be had there.
Yeah, it definitely is. That team's stacked.
Uh, but
But
on a
yeah,
real note, regardless whether it was rigged or not, we did get a crazy week of football. I know you were probably going nuts when we were texting each other
oh,
about the end of that Lions game.
the yeah again, rigged or not, and it's still an entertainment industry
And it's
regardless.
entertaining.
So yeah, it's still fun to watch. It's like the WWE. You still have fans of that. You know it's not real, but you still have fans of it. Um, but yeah, I'm just hoping that there's another entertaining game between Detroit, Carolina this weekend on Saturday, and then even tonight. This is a very important game for both teams. Jaguars and Jets. I think the Jets will win. The Jets need to win this game. It's very important, more important for them than the Jaguars, but it's still important for both of them.
I'm going to pick the. Since we were talking about them having hopes, now I'm going to pick the Jags to clutch that one up, actually.
It's a road game. It's going to be tough. It's going to be it. That's going to be decided by less than one score. I don't even think it's going to be decided by like as in. I think
Under
it'll be like a
3
4 point game.
or
Whoever
4.
wins, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were talking about we didn't know if they had Saturday football, and then last Saturday ended up being the most entertaining day of football, pretty much.
Or Saturday. Yeah. Um,
And this week Saturday's got a lot of big games on too, obviously.
Yeah, I guess when I had mentioned that, I was like, when did they start playing that? And it was literally last weekend. Because I wasn't really paying attention to the schedule for the upcoming week.
Other
But
than the Dolphins on Sunday, there's a game, no games on that anybody really gives a shit about.
who are the good games? Okay, so the game tonight is good. Buffalo, Chicago, whatever, who cares? I mean the way Houston's been playing recently, they could maybe beat Tennessee. Well, okay, I shouldn't say yeah, well, yeah, whatever. Um,
Seattle's got to
yeah,
redeem themselves against Kansas City
yeah, that's gonna
because
be entertaining to watch. They're all actually every game for the most part is like be a good game to watch.
yeah, and ever since we talked about Geno Smith being good, I don't think he's won a game since we started this podcast.
Geno Smith. Yeah, I don't think so. They,
He's still
the,
playing not bad at all, but
no, yeah, they're just losing. It's because they have a tough schedule recently or something. I don't know because I don't pay too much attention to them. Okay, no, they
New
played the
York at
Panthers. That's not
Minnesota
difficult.
too.
They play the Chiefs, yeah, in New York, and then they play. Well, they play the Rams in the year. So I still think I forget who I had making the playoffs from the NFC when I was doing my like little guessing game thing on ESPN. I just remember I did not have Seattle going though. I remember they did not make it. I had the Lions and Giants. As far as the other five teams, I don't remember who they were. But oh, it was Dallas and it was actually all the other teams. It was Dallas, Philly, Minnesota, and oh, I had Tampa Bay making it out of the NFC South. Which this is another thing. I wonder if the NFL should change up how they do things because you have
Has the
like
CPU
the
made a
NFC
break
South,
yet?
for example. Well,
Not
I
yet.
think they
Oh,
should
okay.
change things how you have a division winner and they make it, and then you have your wild card teams. And the wild card teams are more playing as for the conference, like who is not so much the division necessarily. I think they should do it how the NBA does it. And I only say that because you have a team like the NFC South, a team coming out of the NFC South, and there's potential a team coming out of there is going to go 7-10, and they're going to get the 4 seed. But like the Cowboys, they're better than that, and they're going to get the like 5 seed or whatever. So it's just like that doesn't make any sense how a team that's worse because they were in a bad division is getting basically um home field advantage over a team that's better than them. So yeah, I think they should change how they do it. They should do it based off conference, not division necessarily.
Yeah, the home
Again,
field
like a
advantage is a
basketball.
big deal too.
It is. Because Tampa would have home field advantage, assuming they make the playoffs. But and they'd play a team like the Dallas Cowboys in the round one, and Dallas is better than them,
And if you're
record
telling me
wise.
that Dallas has to go to Tampa, that's going to be a toss-up game, in my opinion.
It would be, yeah. That makes a huge difference.
I know it's completely unrelated too, but we're just talking about Jalen Hurts not playing this week.
Oh, they have Gardner Minshew. He's better than
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts anyway.
Don't tell one of my buddies that. He'd be furious.
No,
He's
I seriously thought, God, but this is preseason. I thought the Browns because they needed a quarterback because the goat over there was out for the first 13 games or whatever. I thought the Browns should have gone after Gardner Minshew, and I heard they tried to, but the Eagles wouldn't give him up because, and I know we're talking about this, is Gardner Minshew when he was on Jacksonville with that garbage team that they had, he was still putting up decent numbers for the team that they had. And now he's just a backup. And I think he should be a starter in the NFL. At least I think he's the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
You think with the Eagles team, then that's a good enough Eagles team to beat Cowboys with him?
I think they'll actually win, even with him playing.
Because if they beat the Cowboys, I know we talked about their schedule last week, but I think the Yeah, if they beat Dallas, they have at least a fair shot of winning out because they got to play the Saints and Giants.
Oh, the Saints and yeah, I mean they're probably gonna go. Yeah, well, they'll probably go 15-2. They're gonna lose somewhere. I mean, I said it would be this would be the game they would lose would be the Cowboys, but although I just said they'd win, but this is their toughest game remaining. So I guess if they win against the Cowboys, they're losing to the Giants, I guess, because I don't think they're not gonna go 16-1.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it benefits them if they lose another game before the playoffs too. Just that way they don't have all that. Oh, they're 16-1 and on a 8-win streak or whatever the streak would be
Well,
going into the playoffs.
here's the thing with them playing the Giants. Let's pretend they're 15-1 going to that game against the Giants. They probably won't, and as because they'd lock up the number one overall seed. At that point, they would probably, if I'm the Eagles anyway, I would rest or I would at least start my starters in the first half of the game, but then bench them the second half, regardless of the score.
Yeah, just so
Or
you
I just
don't
wouldn't have
risk.
them play, period. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want to risk an injury.
especially when you already got the number one completely locked, no questions asked.
Right. It's like you're not playing for anything at that point. So there would be 0 point for them to start Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and Devonta Smith. There's no point. They would just have all their backups. They should have Jalen Rager play. Because who cares if he gets hurt? All he does is return punts. Um, or wait, did I say Jalen Rager? Never mind. He's in the Vikings. Um, but yeah,
I know
they
another change
depending on the
too.
record,
Yeah, and I know we had another change too. The Bengals did jump the Ravens with the
they did. Yeah, Bengals are looking good. I
they're
mean,
rolling, baby.
if I had to do a top five power rankings in the NFL right now, in order, oh, this is gonna be tough actually.
Yeah.
The top five power rankings in order. At number five, I'll throw in the. Uh, actually, I have to think about that for a sec.
I would say Bengals are 4 or 5 in my
I mean,
opinion,
I
even
know
being
who
the
the
Bengals
five
fan.
teams would be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't know the order in which they would go.
I would like to say that honestly, even with the losses to the Bengals, I would still say the Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, mm,
So the top five teams,
maybe
not this
San
is not in
Francisco.
order. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. I was gonna say not in order. The top five teams are okay. At number five, I'll put the 49ers there. At number four, I'll put the Bengals. Number three, I'll put Kansas City. Number two, I'll put Buffalo. Number one, I'll have to put the Eagles there.
Yeah, because
That's
I still see people talking about the Vikings, dude. I don't. To me, I just don't get it. Like
no,
the record's
they're not
fake.
exactly.
I would struggle to
Yeah,
put
they're
them in my top 10 right now.
I mean, I don't know who you would like after the top those top five, and you go 6 through 10. I don't know who you'd
It's
throw in
kind of
there.
whoever you want to
Probably,
throw in there, but I just don't think they're even a top 10 power ranking worthy team.
I mean, you'd probably have to put the Vikings in there because I don't know who else would go. I mean, you'd have Dallas in there. You'd probably have the Miami in there. You'd probably have the Chargers probably in there. What are the other? Who would your other two then be? Like the Lions?
I would say
I
right
wouldn't.
now, I would
I
say
don't even
right
know if
now
I'd
the
put them
Lions are
there.
playing like a top 10 power ranking team.
I'd put the Lions at like 13 right now or something like that. Um, I would put the Vikings in top 10. I'd put them at I would say at number six, sitting at number six, right outside of your top five, would probably have to be the Cowboys.
Yeah,
And then after that, either the Chargers or Dolphins. Probably the Chargers, I think, are better than the Dolphins.
and then maybe Dolphins and then Minnesota.
Yeah, probably. And then I don't know. I don't know who would be 10. Um, the Ravens, maybe. I don't know.
Because it's just, I don't know.
Ravens
Everything's
or the
interesting right
Giants.
now. Because obviously
Yeah,
there's clear cut a top five, I would say, depending on who you
I
want to
mean,
argue is that fifth spot. But I would say like the top three or four are pretty unarguable.
one of those five teams I just mentioned in that top five. Actually, I'll include Dallas in there too. So any of those top six teams, one of those six is winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if
There's
you were gonna
no
tell me I just had to pick one of those, if any of those top six that I say or top five are gonna win a Super Bowl and I had to bet on it, 100% taking the bet that one of those five wins it.
rigged or not, it's going to be one of those six. Because that's just how that's just what it's going to be. And if I had to pick one, Kansas City's always a safe pick, but I mean, a lot of people are going to pick Buffalo. Although
Which
with
is
the
fair
Eagles, but
enough.
I don't think the Eagles will win, honestly. But even though I said they would, I said the NFL was rigged a while ago on a Snapchat story, and I said Philly will beat. I forget who I picked that play, but I think I said Philly would beat Buffalo.
Yeah, I think you had the
Um,
Bills.
and I still think that's a potential Super Bowl,
Oh,
but
100%. I
who
would say
knows? I
for the
mean,
last two seasons, honestly, the Bills have looked like one of the top five teams in the league.
yeah, they have ever since. Well, was it Josh Allen's second year in the NFL? I think is when people were like, "This is going to be a good team."
Yeah, that's a
Because his first year he
powerhouse.
was not good. Um. Oh yeah, I remember why I said the Eagles would win though. I said because sports follow a trend, and I think the trend I said that was being followed this year specifically was year of the playoff droughts ending, and also year of the second time champions. I think, and the only sport I was really comparing it to is baseball. And I don't remember if I've said this before, but in baseball, the Mariners just made the playoffs this year. And that was the first time they had made the playoffs since 2001. And the next team in the NFL that has the longest playoff drought is the Jets. And they're a team that could definitely make the playoffs still right now.
And tonight's a big night
And
for them.
going back to baseball, the Astros just won their second championship ever. And we're going into football. The Eagles were the best team in football right this second, who I'm sure a lot of people will say will win the Super Bowl. If that's actually the case, that would be their second time they ever won. But also going back to when they won the Super Bowl their first time was also the same year the Astros won this World Series their first time, or in the same season as each other, I should say.
It's an
So that
interesting
was
trend to
literally what I was
follow.
going. That was literally what I was going off of.
If that holds true, then you're a wizard.
And then yeah, I mean, because the Astros, no, I was going to say the Astros are also the best team in baseball, and the Eagles are the best team in football, but they weren't. I believe the Dodgers were the best team in baseball this past year.
Record wise, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, honestly, after today and this weekend, then we'll have a really interesting thing. We're skipping NBA and everything this week because we just NFL is definitely the biggest thing going on right now because college football bowl games and stuff are it's not the big games yet, but we got a lot of big bowl games coming up in the next week or 10 days, honestly. So
right. Yeah, the next week definitely would talk about college football. As far as NBA, yeah, there's nothing. I mean, I guess the Celtics are struggling right now. There's not too
yeah,
much going on in the NBA. It's still early. I mean, it's not even halfway done with the season yet, but it's still
it's kind of
early
pretty much
there.
the
I know.
same trend as last week, other than the Celtics losing a couple games.
Yeah, the Celtics are just on a little drought right now. Um, other than that, yeah, Celtics are a 3 game losing streak right now. But other than that, there's not too much going on with the NBA. I mean, yeah, college basketball. I've been keeping an eye on that. Um, I know Virginia lost it the other day. Yeah, their first loss of the season, I believe.
You got Mr. Zach Edey looking like an all star.
Yeah. Still probably not going to get drafted though. Um, just what I don't understand. You have these players that are so good in college for basketball specifically, and because that they don't like declare after a freshman year, they just get overlooked.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know why, because obviously Purdue's the best team in college basketball right this second.
Well,
And yeah.
I think. Do you have anything else to add for NFL this week? I mean, I know we could keep
Um,
talking about it if we wanted to. Just like the
off
main
the top,
points.
yeah, no, there's nothing too major, I guess.
I just think, regardless, every week of the NFL, we're gonna have something to talk about now because it's starting to get to that point in the season now where
Yeah,
it's
we're 2 weeks, or actually, no, not 2 weeks. We're like 3 weeks away from the playoffs.
because I think we're not gonna end it yet, but we'll cut it here soon. Next week, definitely we'll have a lot of stuff for college football with the playoffs coming up. I mean, next week's episode will definitely come out obviously before the playoffs, but either way, with the bowl games and the playoffs coming up, we'll have a long podcast next week talking about all that stuff. Probably start getting into some NCAA next week, and obviously touching up on the NBA again. But I think we'll probably do. Honestly, next week will probably be a really long episode with bowl games and the playoff coming up.
Mhm. Oh, actually, just one thing to add in, I guess, NFL wise, specifically on the Titans. I just saw this. I didn't actually know this until just 5 seconds ago. Ryan Tannehill is not even playing this weekend. So, and I don't know how long he's out for.
Probably an L.
They have Malik Willis playing in place of him, and I mean, he hasn't really done anything, but um, yeah, that's actually gonna make that Houston Tennessee game probably a little different now.
I know I just clicked on their thing here. It says the top thing that comes up on the Titans homepage on ESPN is, can the Titans still make the playoffs without Tannehill? Probably not.
Yep, that's what I just saw. I think it's yeah, the NFC South or the AFC South is now very interesting, especially if he's out for a long time. I don't know how serious his injury is, but he's even though Ryan Tannehill is nothing special, he's better than Malik Willis is, at least for right this second.
Which is gonna make shit interesting.
They're just gonna give the ball to Derrick Henry like 47 times this weekend.
That's honestly the game plan, probably.
Probably it. And have Malik Willis pass like 12 times and
Every
have
one of
him
them off
complete
play
like five
action.
of them. Yeah, he'll probably go 5 for 12 with like 68 yards passing.
One touchdown, one pick.
Yeah, probably. I don't even know if he'll have a touchdown. He doesn't. There's like no receivers on that team that are good.
I don't know. I guess we'll end it with the picks. Keeping my picks the same, honestly. Bengals are my favorite to go to the Super Bowl against, honestly, the Eagles. Just like everybody else is picking the Eagles, pretty much. I think it's a good shot that it's Eagles, and I got faith in Joey B. I'll look like an idiot this year. I don't care. I got all my faith on him.
I'll go. I'll just stick with it. I think I've changed it before, but I'll just go Eagles and Bills. I still. I think I want the Niners to go though.
And
Obviously, I want the Lions to go, but I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs as of right this second because they're not locked. But if the Lions make the playoffs, I'm definitely going for them. But and realistically, I think it'll be the Eagles or Niners. But I said Eagles because of the whole trend thing.
and honestly, this week's gonna should be a good week for the Lions because they should beat Carolina. So
They should be. Yeah, they should. Although I think it's going to be a trap game and they're going to lose. But yeah.
statistically, they should win.
It should. Sam Darnold's a quarterback in Carolina, and that's embarrassing. So,
But well, honestly, do you have anything else you want to add then before we wrap this one up?
no. I guess R.I.P. Franco Harris.
Yeah, and with that being said, too, also make sure you guys go follow the TikTok. We'll start putting that in the links and stuff in the description. We're gonna try to get some stuff started on TikTok, like just some like who was the last type games and stuff like that, and just different factual stuff or just sometimes funny videos mix up and stuff.
Interactive,
Yeah,
yeah,
interactive
interactive,
stuff. That's the word I was looking
or
for.
stuff taken from this specifically, like the NFL rigged type of comment, or even top five power rankings. So they're a good thing, I guess, to throw on there. But
Yeah,
yeah, just anything interactive.
yep, and we'll start putting that link in the description and stuff, and I'll link it to like the about page and stuff on our channel. So go check that stuff out. And like we said, next week we'll have a long episode from you guys or for you guys. Get into the college football a lot because that's my wheelhouse. I do like the NFL and NBA and get into NCAA and everything, but college football is my wheelhouse. I'm ready to start talking about that in NFL. We should probably have well over an hour long podcast next week. But
Yep.
like we said, go check out that link in the description or on the channel for the TikTok. Get some stuff up on there here soon, and we appreciate anybody tuning in. So we'll get you guys next week, and that's it for this episode. Peace.